one of my friends who was working on some of this stuff, I can't discuss anything about this other than the fact that he's sitting in Stan Meyer's dune buggy and had his own methods of creating the synthetic fuel about a little over, I don't know, 25 years ago. He, for the company, he basically created a jet engine that ran on water, and he thought that, you know, it would be, everybody would be receptive to it. And after the 20-year gag order ran out, then a lot of that information kind of came into the net, and I'd worked with him personally for a while, and kind of went on that same path that he was doing with the jet engine. Right here, this is jet engine that I made out of scrap metal. This is some old junk turbo I pulled out of a junkyard when I was high school in Japan by a military base. Always thought it would come in handy someday, like everything else. And so you got the combustion chamber, the flame tube is inside. Michael John Nunnerly also has a patent for the world's most efficient heat exchanger, and he actually designed the flame tube inside for me, where normally in a flame tube in a combustion chamber in a gas turbine type turbojet engine, the flame tube, there's holes drilled into this flame tube that the air goes through before it gets ignited. And when the temperature is up on that flame tube, the stuff will go in and it'll just ignite on contact, kind of like a diesel, just by the heat. But what happens is I have all the holes drilled 45 degrees up and at an angle, so as the air is coming in, it creates a perfect vortex in alignment with the exhaust fin in the turbo. So it's super, super efficient. I can run that engine and I can put my hand 3 feet from the exhaust and it won't burn me. That's how efficient this thing is. Now, we had to block out a few people who I actually got a little bit of funding to help move me through this. But one thing that I've never shown, because I have how to build a jet engine.com, just because I documented a thing, put it in the package, people can buy to build one, but I wouldn't recommend it unless, you know, you got a lot of spare time and just want to do that kind of thing, because it's pretty labor intensive. But I never showed this. So what this is that little thing right there is called an exhaust cutout. I just remember seeing those in J.C. Whitney magazine when I was in high school, and you basically put them on an engine and you got a little cable that runs, you know, up to your dashboard, and you pull it. So you're out on the highway and you just pull that, and it diverts it away from the mufflers and everything, just straight pipe out the side. So what I'm doing is after it starts running, I pull that, it diverts the oxygen or the thrust into here, boils water, puts it back into the intake. Plus I have the plasma ignition on it, high efficient flame tube. That's the water boiler right there, which is overbuilt. It's almost as heavy as the jet. That's just another side view right there where I'm taking the output of this. So I got all these ball valves on here to kind of meter how much I'm putting. You can see a little velocity stack. Air goes from the ambient air in. You got so I can meter how much ambient air I'm putting in, how much recycled exhaust I'm putting in. And so this right here, I'll just show, does anybody want to see? I'm just okay, so I'll play this little video here. This just kind of shows just recycling the exhaust, and I have the explanation in there. This is when our friends came over, so I could show them what kind of progress was going on.
So what else is new?
Oil pump.
Ignition?
The ignition's pretty much the same, I guess.
Yeah, just a
Yeah, it's a transmission oil cooler. So the oil sucks into this side, so it's pulling oil from here, going through the cooler into here, and the output can either go up or this way. If this is open, that bypass, the oil will just bypass and go straight down into here. And if I close it off little by little, then it'll divert it up into the turbine, and we'll get some pressure. This is a 12-volt oil pump. We were running on 24 volts, and I got that just so we can just deal with one battery.
So what's the bubbler thing going on here?
Okay, so once it's running, this is one of these old exhaust cutouts.
Yeah.
You drive on a highway, pull the thing, and your straight pipe, you know, straight out.
Yeah.
We'll keep it open so the thrust comes straight out here.
Until, yeah, for starting. Right?
Yeah, for starting, the thrust will come straight out here, and after it gets stable and it starts idling for a bit, and then little by little I can pull this, and it'll divert the exhaust here, which will go down into there, bubble in the water, warm the water up, and then this will have to be open a little bit, and once this is open, the vapor will be bubbling out here, and we just connect it to here, and so we're recycling that exhaust, but we're also creating steam for free, basically, because it'd just be wasted output. And so some of this vapor later will be diverted out of here over to the reactor, the magic, to me, and then we can test it. And I'll show you the antennas and stuff that we got started on and everything. So anyway, okay, that's off, right? No,
That's on, yeah.
Okay, that's shut. Okay, that's. And you can hear that's louder than a spark. If it was out in the open right here, bam, bam, bam,
Yeah.
it's loud. And if you spray tap water on it, it explodes tap water on contact.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going.
When I leave the igniter on, I don't turn it off.
Okay, so they're getting the oil pressure up. Okay. So we're going to start making a lot of noise here. We're going to start.
Yeah, you might want to stand over here. It is possible to
Start blowing the big stop back is going to be used as an output compressor, blow air into the turbine to get it up to speed.
It's a vacuum cleaner blowing to get the carbon speed up.
Okay, we have ignition. Okay, we have self-sustain.
Don't boil water in a plastic bucket. Okay, so that's a gauge showing 0 psi coming out of the propane tank when this thing is going. Doesn't mean there's no propane. It's on just enough just for there to be traces of propane coming into this thing while it's running the jet. There, like you see, what I need is I need a little metering valve thing so that I can actually see the range from 0 to 1.0. That way I can zoom in and actually see it a little more accurate. But just to give you an idea of where it came from, when I started, I needed 8 psi just to get it to idle. Doing all this with my plasma ignition, recycling, and all this, it went from 8 psi to, well, 0.1 to 1 psi, 1/8 of what it normally did, which is, I mean, it's kind of a huge drop.